Hello, everyone, and welcome to this bonus NASS episode. I am your host for this episode, Jose.
I am your other guy, George.
I am the girl, Marie.
Yeah, she is. Now, today we will be covering episode 7 of Alien Earth. Now, previously we've covered episode 6, 5, and 4 individually, and then we did the first three together as a package. You can catch all that on a Not a Strong Start channel, plus the little preview episode Marie and I did before the show even came out. If you want to know some of our thoughts, if you have not been keeping up with our conversation during this. With that said, we're here for episode 7, so let's get right into it.
And all those juicy spoilers.
Yes, yes, good, good on you, George. Yes, we will be spoiling the crap out of this. So if you have not seen it, we're gonna get into the full detail, strip this episode down to the nitty gritty, and get into everything. So make sure you bookmark it, add it to the watch later, because last thing we want to do is spoil the episode for you. We prefer you watch it yourself and then come back and be part of our conversation with us. So give you some time to do that right now. Now let's get into this. So right away, we know last episode we kind of saw things start to go down. We had our first hybrid, unaliving happening, during the last episode, and then we ended with Arthur getting a nice tight hug to the face. That's where we were. So now we're getting into the aftermath of what happened as we had Boy Cavalier and Kirsch, all of them returning back to the island to deal with the aftermath of what we just saw. So we start off this episode with the evidence with his new body package that he's carrying around in his room. George, you want to tell us a little bit about that scene?
Oh yeah, this boy is up Schitt's Creek, no paddles. You feel for the boy, because he's trying to do the best he can to help out his family. At the same time, he doesn't have any ill will towards this poor man, and he doesn't know what to do. Like everything's going wrong around him. And it's a cute moment too, because like he's trying to like save Arthur in some way or like take care of him. Like you see him like
Yeah.
try to wiggle his finger in between the face hugger and give him some kind of like Vegemite vitamin drink or whatever. Like he's trying his best, and then that face hugger just crushes tighter around his neck and face. And we know as the spectators, like it's not gonna be good for you, bro. No amount of kale juice is gonna save you from this one, all right? And lo and behold, outside, his boy is out there, Smee, checking in on him, like, hey, buddy. And Smee is always like, he is our child. Out of everyone, he is the one who's latched onto that childness, and he's knocking on that door. He's like, I'm busy. We're never busy. I love that line. That was
Yeah.
such a great line. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you... it's like we're kids in adult bodies who have no responsibilities. We're living the best of both worlds. You know? And eventually he lets him in because it's like he's causing a ruckus. And now Shmi is put into that hard situation because now he's seeing the events that have unfolded. And what is he to do? He doesn't want to take part in this, but Slightly is his boy. This is his friend. So after some assurance that, everything's going to be okay, we're just going to take him to this place. Nothing's going to happen to him. He's like, all right, I'll help you out. And they start going on that venture of transporting Arthur to the boat docks or to the beach, I guess, more importantly. And that trek does not go as expected for them, or as not as they expected. It went exactly how we expected.
It was funny. So it's like I'm watching this and I was just kind of like because I've been annoyed with Slightly, and I understand he's a child. He's a
Yeah.
child, so he's being manipulated and all that. But you just can't help but have this annoyance of like, come on, man, like doing it. But seeing him like trying to nourish Arthur and give him like the water and like just that you see the innocence there. He doesn't really understand, and he truly believes Arthur's gonna be okay, and doesn't understand how this is working. He's too far. When Smee comes in and sees Smee's reaction, and after they have that little interaction, I was like, we all need a Smee in my life. If you look at Smee, he wants nothing but to just have fun, to hang out, no drama. But then when shit goes down and you need him, he is ride or die. He's like, you know what? I don't understand what's happening. I don't like this, but you're my boy. So let's do this. I'm with you. Like I know we're gonna be in big trouble, but right there with you. We all need a Smee in his life. Everyone be more Smee, okay?
He
Be
more likes
less,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
be less curly, and we'll get into that. No, but I thought it was a good scene. I'm glad they're staying consistent with this dynamic between them with Smee and Slightly, and I feel as the season's gone along. I know we talked earlier that it seemed kind of inconsistent with some of the hybrids' behavior, but I feel in the last couple episodes, we're kind of seeing them all fall into their place, and we're seeing more consistency on how they're being portrayed individually. They're all different but individually, and we kind of continue with this here. Marie, how did you feel about that scene, that interaction, and bringing this boy on board?
Okay, let me just say that Slightly and Smee are like my favorite part of this show, I think maybe. I don't know. They are both the actors do such a good job at behaving like children and making you believe that they have childlike minds. Their body language, like the arms like behind the back swaying and stuff like that. I was just like everything about, especially Smee, he's my absolute favorite. And we'll talk about them later in the episode too, but um I'm watching them and I'm thinking, okay, you know what it is? It's just Wendy's storyline I don't like because if the show was just like them, I'd like it a lot more because they are my favorite hybrid characters, probably my favorite their favorite characters in the show in general. But let's say the face hugger scene in general, I was like, okay, is it just me or like is this where you really see like a face hugger in action and showing exactly what it's doing to the host?
The
Because
quiet
or
helped.
maybe
The
yeah,
quiet of
that's
the
the
scene
thing.
helped.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm thinking like we're watching it and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I've never seen this a facehugger this up close and personal where we're seeing what it does to the host. And maybe it's because all the other alien movies, you watch it after so many years of since you're a kid that you kind of just, like things blur in your brain and you guess you're so used to it. But this really focused on like the anatomy and what it's doing. So it's like pumping air into you and what, choking you out so you pass out. So then you're so because it needs you like alive as a live host, but it doesn't want you awake because you'll fight back. So is it like that sack is pumping air? I feel like an idiot for not realizing this sooner, but I never really remember seeing like a very up close like the anatomy of a face hugger and what it's doing to the host in general. Like it's like deep throating you and everything like that. But I just but with the choking and when he starts fighting back when the like the when he puts the
The
liquid
straw.
in his mouth. Yeah, and then he's like, ooh, ooh, like I'm like, okay, is he coming to? Is he kind of throwing up? And then it's like, no, B word. It's like choking him out more, and then he like relaxes. I'm like, oh, dude, like is it making you pass out the whole time? Is that why people wake up and they don't remember? Are they losing so much oxygen to their brain that they're kind of losing? Like I thought that whole scene was awesome because I'm like, oh, how have I not known any of this until just now? It was a really good scene to explain exactly what the facehugger was doing. And
Yeah,
I feel stupid, like maybe I didn't realize it before, but I don't remember seeing it that graphic.
yeah. In a way, it's kind of like when someone's not in a hospital and they're not breathing on their own, and they have to artificially provide oxygen through a machine. That's kind of what the face hugger is doing.
Yeah.
It's providing whatever it can. And then the way I think about it, I don't even know if this is actually how it works. I look at it as it's terraforming the body. It's providing the
Mm.
nutrient stuff that it needs for its own embryo. So it's terraforming the inside of the body
Mm.
at that same time. So then when Smee is introducing this water in there, it's like, I don't need that. I got this. Like, and then you see
Yeah.
it kind of like spit that back out and like roll like down the neck. But I think you have a good point. I think it probably cuts off the regular oxygen it's doing, makes them unconscious, then starts providing its own type of sustenance to keep the body going.
I concur. I concur.
Okay.
What I think was cool about it,
uh,
because this usually when we see this, there's other people talking around and they're analyzing, they're like, what is
Yeah.
happening, blah blah blah. There was silence, so you hear the You
Yeah.
hear like the breathing and the thing, and it made it more visceral in the moment
Yeah.
seeing that. So I think that was a great touch. Another little thing that this series has given us that we haven't seen before, and I feel like that is one of the strengths of this show is while it is retreading certain things, it's also making sure to give us some of those things represented in a different way that we haven't seen. And I think this was another way to do it. So I definitely appreciated that. But from there, we went into like, I'll call it the discovery scene. And this is where they've gotten back to the lab and Boyd Cavalier is finding out everything that happened. Kirsch, of course, still he knows absolutely, and he's being very selective with what he's saying. So he shows him the video about what happened with Toodles, or Isaac. So he shows him that. So he gives him that part of the information, but he still doesn't tell him about what happened to Arthur. So the boy genius Cavalier is still unaware. I mean, he can care less. Cavalier's reaction during the entire time is just like, oh, well, that's intriguing. Okay, yeah, whatever. Like these animals are cool, and that's like his whole attitude. He can care less about what happened to Isaac, except for the $6 billion that he just lost on that project. Marie, what do you feel about that? That scene, the discovering everything, and how kind of Kirsch in that scene only gave bits of information, and Cavalier's reaction to everything.
Uh, Kirsch is another character that's like up there on my list because I'm like, what are you up to, dude? And there's parts of me that were like really guessing like whose side he was on the whole time, but then I just think like he's on his own side. I think he's doing his own thing and he has his own mind and um I his character also really grew on me this episode. This was like the first, not the first episode, but this episode really made me a lot more interested in Kirsch as a character. And I was like, all right, like I'm liking the way you're operating because it's evil in a way, but also not because you're a robot. Like you don't know, you're just doing what you are either programmed to do or you kind of have a mind of your own and you're doing what you want to do. Like you have your own objective or something. So we're gonna find out about that. But sorry, what was the other thing? What did Kid
And it
Cavalier, what
just
him coming in?
Cavalier when he went in, how kind of this is him first finding out that start things were going to shit while he
Yeah,
was gone.
Yeah.
yeah. You see how kind of calloused he is? Even with like his own money and the money spending too, he was just like, "Oh, there was $6 billion," and like his objective too. Like, what is your objective? Do you think that event, like he's trying out all of these hybrids and stuff, as an experiment to see what works because he's wanting to do this with his own brain? This is what I'm thinking. Like, this is what he wants his own brain transported because he already thinks he's like the most intelligent being, like human being out there. He like so arrogant about it. So I'm wondering if like he's doing all these tests. Like, of course, it's probably for a company reason, but I think he wants to be like a supreme being, and he wants his body to be perfect to match his perfect brain. So that wasn't anything to do with the scene, really. That was just like my random thought.
No, actually believe him that he really just wants to communicate with, because he believes he's so arrogant that he's so over everyone else that he's bored with everyone else or everything else, including the
Yeah.
hybrids and the Sims, that he truly does want to be stimulated.
Yeah.
And I think, you get this a lot of times with, it's funny enough, with like kids. Sometimes you have like very intelligent kids. They might
Hmm.
be very hyperactive and they're super intelligent, and you put them in a classroom setting, and they can sometimes struggle because they're so smart, they get bored with it and they,
Yes.
they process everything so quick. So you get behaviors that come from that because they have to keep themselves stimulated. So I think he is kind of like that. He is so smart, believes himself so about everything that everything boards him, and it's just a constant mission to find something that stimulates him, whether it's a
Hmm.
hybrid, whether and George, I'll let you get into this. His even reinvigorated intrigue with Itopus in this scene, which
Hmm.
it seems like he feels can provide that for him, and he decides to. In this scene, take a different direction with Itopus and kind of get him out of the lab.
That was his aha moment on screen where he's just like, "Oh, I've been looking at all these things. This is the thing. I had an inkling that this was the thing, but now I know after seeing like it manipulated a moment where it put one of my things in danger and it calculated that thing and it had nothing to gain from it. So what does it want? Why did it distract him for those flies to eat him? And so after seeing that, he's like, all right, I need to have that separated. It needs to go into my room so I can further investigate this thing on myself. And that whole thing, it's like I agree with you, Jose. I think it just furthered on the point where it's like I found the intelligent being I've been looking for, and now I want to communicate with it. I need to figure out a way for us to have the conversation I've been dying to have. Because he starts talking to it, he shows it the number pi, and then it starts telling him the rest of the numbers with like its hoof stomps. And I think even for us in that moment, it's just like, oh, okay, this thing, we knew it was smart, but it's so smart even on a universal mathematical level. And it's smart to the point where it got bored of him because
Hmm.
it gives him the first number, it gives him the second number. He's like, all right, what's the third number? And then it takes a shit, and it's just like, okay, hold, that's enough, buddy. All right, I ain't your
Yeah.
monkey. Okay, you're beneath me. All right,
Yeah.
you see what I'm doing here. All right, this is magic, baby.
Yeah.
This is you know and his mind just explodes. Like you see him, like he's acted like a child through this whole series with a lot of different things. In this moment, he felt like the most childlike, where it's like,
Hmm.
oh my God, like all the candy in the candy store just fell in my lap,
Yeah.
and I don't know where to start eating it. That's how we get to feel with him in this moment, and you can see like now he's trying to figure out who do I pick, who like. Because I said it earlier, I think he's going to try to put it in a human body. And lo and behold, they have that conversation of putting it in a human so we can have a true conversation. Maybe it can utilize that ability to talk or write or something. So they start going through the list of like, all right, maybe we'll pick this person or that person. And we don't get to see who it is, but he gets another light bulb. He's like, I know who we'll go to. And this is where we three get to speculate now, like who could it be and everything.
Mm.
I also want to add, I felt like as that scene began, I felt like Kid Cavalier had this speculative look upon him. Like his demeanor was just like because the last episode, Kirsch was like, everything's okay, nothing's wrong at home. And now he's coming home, he's like, okay, a lot is wrong at home. Things happened and you didn't tell me. Like I feel like there was a little bit of like a tug and pull there between the two of them. It wasn't huge, but it was small enough where like you could see he's a little off put by him of like, you didn't give me all the information I needed. Like, what's up here? And that whole situation with everybody around there, I'm kind of surprised that no one else looked at the cameras to see everything else that happened. Like, we know Kirsch looks at everything, but it's like not one other person was gonna check
Yeah.
everything to see that Arthur was gone and everything else. Like, it felt kind of weird in that moment. It's like, man, you're making a mistake if you're putting all your eggs in Kirsch's basket. Big mistake, buddy.
Yeah. And he takes a shot at Kirsch on the way out where he's like, make yourself useful
Yeah,
and stuff. And Kirsch's like, oh yes, yes, sir. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
sure. But yeah, no, you're right. You see that jovial, childish excitement when he comes across this. What I thought it was could, and maybe it's me looking too much into it. When we were looking at it from the perspective of the octopus, uh, it was like it really was only focused on half of the face of Boy Cavalier. Like it was focused on one eye.
yeah.
Like he
Hmm.
wasn't centered through the perspective. He was just kind of like, yes, that's my future home. That's what I want to be in. So I thought that was a cool little camera trick the way they filmed that. I
Mm.
speculate it's got to be Kermit. He doesn't like
Yeah.
Kermit. He probably feels Kermit is the reason. You know
Hermit.
that Hermit, Hermit.
He looks like a Kermit though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He probably
Uh,
Hermit's the reason why his favorite is acting out a little bit. He blames it
Mm.
all on him. He you know probably wants to get rid of him. That's why I see it as kind of um the target for him to put inside of there. I don't know if you guys feel it might be someone else.
No, I feel like it's him because at the end of the episode, they're like, "Oh, they called you in. You're being called back. Like you're being called in to him." So I think
Mhm.
he's being summoned to go because it's for that. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
I, I do want to backtrack a little bit to that the scene before when we were talking about the lab scene. While we're talking about what his disdain for Hermit and what he might have how he might have influenced Wendy in a negative way in his eyes. We saw Wendy getting a little rebellious when she came into the lab and was not happy that Isaac had passed away and the answers she was getting from it. Kirsch gave a very Kirsch answer, was just like it was it was science.
Yeah.
Science happens to him and all that. Or Boy Cavalier just gave his nonchalant like, and she saw that lack of care from either of them and seemed to make the determination we're not safe here. And they tried to block her, and she didn't take very well to them trying to block her escape and actually started to get a little rebellious. Marie, I know this is not your favorite character in here, but what were your thoughts when you were seeing her in this scene? Because we saw her do it with the doctor, but in this scene is one of the ones where she's fully got rebellious and aggressive of both Kirsch and Boy Cavalier, almost threatening in a way.
I think her character is fine. I think her reacting the way she did was good. I think that is enough for her character to show, to prove and show that the human brain is still in there, and like the compassion that you have for um like your brothers and sisters, as she kind of refers to the other hybrids as, um that's enough for me. I don't want or need this communication with the xenomorph, because once she did her little mac and me mouth with the click clicks and with with the xenomorph, and the xenomorph reacted to be on her side, I was like, this is exactly what I don't want and I hate, and it kills everything for me. So I liked it, and I like it in theory until they ruin it with this goddamn, as George said earlier, as long as it's not blue and like Chris Pratt and Jurassic, whatever. And that's what it's turning into. And I'm like, I hate this. Anyway, so there's parts of it that I like and I think is, good, good for the story and would seem like realistic. Like this was what would happen in this scenario. Once they throw, it almost makes me hate seeing a xenomorph in the show. That's what it's doing.
And we're gonna dive more into this little relationship that they're showing us on there and all our
Yeah, we
thoughts
are.
in there. I have a feeling we might all be on the same page when it comes to this. Might be one of the first things that we're all on the same page when it comes to this.
It's
But
a good
we
page
will
to be on.
but we'll dive into that. But yeah, she leaves that room and she basically starts rallying the troops. And we see Nibs and Curly, and Nibs is not doing well at all. This procedure was not the savior that they thought it was going to be. This procedure has been one of the worst decisions they could have made. Not only did you start Wendy's rebellious FU phase, but then you also broke Nibs, where she's denying she ever even had memories. She's just like trying to do whatever it is to cope. But we see Curly there, and Wendy is very upfront, like, we're getting out of here. And Curly didn't want to. And we're starting to see a little bit. We knew before she wanted to be the favorite. And there was thoughts, okay, maybe it's just a jealousy aspect of it. But we see a little bit more of kind of what her motivations are and what Curly's thought process here.
You kind of get where Curly's coming from too, because Curly, who knows what bad things she had back in the past, but she was dying. And now here she has a second chance. And to have everyone around her that are her peers and equals trying to take that away from her, you get it. It's like, come on, like this is a good thing we got here. Why would you want to leave this? Why are you messing with this for us? It's like, and you're the one who told us this was a good thing. Like her conversation with Wendy, like Wendy's like, you gotta go, we're in danger. And she can't see it because like how did you become this person who who is against this thing that's so good? I don't understand. And the only thing that makes sense is like your goddamn brother. Your goddamn brother ruined everything for us. So like I get where Curly's coming from with all that. It just sucks that that's going against the right decision in this situation. I will say, like in this moment, I thought it was interesting that Wendy was so headstrong to make sure to save the others, the other hybrids, which is no, it's a Wendy thing. She's going to want to do that. But she only went to Nibs and Curly, and at no time do we ever see her attempt. Maybe I missed it, but I don't see her ever mention or try to find Smee and Slightly. Like we know they're gone, but they don't know they're gone.
Just the girls.
Just the girls. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay. I don't know if did the writers forget that there's two other guys out there? Who knows? I don't know. But it would have been nice to have just a little scene where they're just like, where did they go? And then the brother has to be like, okay, we gotta go without them. Like, if they're not here, we gotta go. And like, just to have that conversation again. And then she realizes, like, all right, I guess some people do have to get left behind. We didn't get to see that because she was so like, no, everyone comes. You know. So I thought that was interesting that that didn't happen, but it could just be an oversight or whatever. But yeah, like Curly, I'm not surprised by Curly's decisions whatsoever. And if at the end she's like right hand side by with everyone over there against them, yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen.
I mean, she already is.
Yeah,
She promised, but I'm convinced she
yeah,
snitched in this
yeah.
episode. She definitely snitched, and that's how they were. We'll get into it, how the ending happened the way it happened. I think she straight up snitched. She curled up in the doctor's arms, who I'm still convinced really doesn't care about her and looks at her like a
Hmm.
science experiment, and just spread all the information in there.
I have thoughts about that
Uh,
doctor and you, Jose. In
yeah.
this episode, I was like, I thought of you immediately when that thing happens.
Yeah, bro. You want to get into it? Let me know. What were your thoughts?
Because when Boy Cavalier comes in and interrogates her of like, where's your husband and all this crap and everything, and she's like oblivious because she truly is oblivious. And all I can think is like, Jose said it. If she didn't go looking for her husband, then we know who she is. And she didn't. She never tried to say goodbye to him. And I think she just assumed he's gone. And I was like, you bitch.
And he's over here on the other side, like, no, I gotta go back. I gotta go say bye to my wife. Like, I gotta do
Yeah.
that. She's not a second thought on her mind regarding. She's like, oh yeah, he left. He probably left. Like he was told to go. Like you're not gonna give a kiss goodbye, a nice little hug, or like,
I'm
hey,
sorry. How
I'm
about and I'm
sorry.
sorry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll see you on the other side. I'll call you in a week.
Yeah, like
Like
I'll try to make things right and get you like anything that shows like compassion, zero.
nothing. I don't. I believe she is as cold as the Simpsons. She just pretends
Yeah.
to be more, so she can play this role for the hybrids to earn their trust. I don't trust her at all, and I'm pretty sure Curly again snitched to her. But continuing with Wendy, we see her play her first piece, a very moral piece. Remember when we saw the episode where they are having the corporate meeting, and Morrow's strategy that he presented to Yutani is pretty much ensue chaos, and in the chaos, accomplish a mission. And Wendy pretty much did this thing. It was just like, I think it was a double-sided decision. One is free the xenomorph who she felt was in danger because she feels they're all in danger. They're all experiments. But the other thing is create chaos and distraction to allow them to kind of slip away at the same time. So she says, F the scientist who they're just doing their job. She just said, after scientists, I'm going to release this. And you see the xenomorphs just obliterate not soldiers, just every scientist in there who are just, they're just taking down data, numbers, and not in charge of the program or anything. But she did that, didn't even really tell her brother. Her brother knew something was up. He didn't, really figure it out until later. But in that moment, he was like, what did you do? And we're starting to see him realizing like maybe this isn't my sister because he's been in denial with it. But bold move by Wendy. So you guys have any thoughts on that first little chess piece move she made?
Because I said the last episode, I'm like, she's turning on humanity, and I just feel like she's angry at all humans, and she's turning on them. Yeah, becoming like, I don't want to say AI that's self-aware because she has the human brain. But I mean, I was mad. I'm like, so you're just gonna off all these innocent people, like you evil bee? You care about all these other living organisms that you don't even know what they're capable of. Or you do know what you're capable of actually, because one tried to, off your brother and tried to off you, but you have more compassion for this than like random humans doing their jobs. You're just gonna like I just don't like her. I don't like her storyline.
Like
Like
I
I
don't
just
like her,
I,
sir.
I'm well, it's like I'm not rooting for her whatsoever at all. Like she doesn't I guess she's compassionate with like monsters, but she's becoming a monster herself, which I guess is cool and all, but that's not what we normally see from like the final girl, alien girl, you know? So I know she's not gonna be the final. I know she's not gonna last, but I was like, Wendy, I just don't like you, and you're making me hate you more.
I do have a slight counter to that. As that scene happened, I did think of what you said, and I was like, oh, maybe she is going scorched earth on the humans. But a later scene was like, okay, she's not going scorched earth on the humans, but she probably saw the scientists as these are the ones experimenting and doing this to them and to the into the creatures, so saw them as the bad guys, because later on when she comes across these other humans who she has not met before, she gives them a chance to survive, and she says, you don't want to do this, like, leave, go. She doesn't automatically like try to wipe them out.
With men and
Once
Oh,
they
what
women.
did
become
they
a
say?
threat, then she
What
doesn't.
they say to her? What they say to her again after she says leave, whatever. What do they say to her?
Well, didn't they put their guns up and they were pointed it and they were threatening Nibs, I believe, in there because Nibs like hissed at them.
Oh,
In
I
there,
hated that too.
yeah, and they were trying to take them in. So I think until she saw them as a threat, that they were not gonna let them leave, and they were a threat to her and Nibs and brother. That's when she did it. But she did give the initial. Like I think if she was scorched earth on all humans, she just as soon as they got there, she would have been like hooly hoo, and then like Xenomorph would have done his would have done his thing. But yeah, in well, we can get into that scene. So as they're trying to escape and going through the woods, Morrow has landed, and he's landed. He's got his little team, and he's got a secondary team that landed on another part of the island. That second team is what comes across Wendy, Nibs, and Hermit.
This is one of those scenes where like I'm mixed. I feel like Marie a little bit because like our new alien comes out and it just f's shit up. Everyone gets annihilated because Wendy has given it the call, the go ahead of like take them out, and we find out it's been with them the whole time. And now
Mhm.
Hermit gets to see it's like, oh shit! Now I know what she did back there. I know what she was doing on the board. She's let this thing out. She doesn't understand how dangerous this thing is. He's seeing it wreak havoc, and then it stops and comes to her, and he's obviously concerned. He's worried. It's like this thing's gonna kill us now. But she's like, back up. This is my bitch. And they have this tender moment with each other, and it bothered the crap out of me. It brought me back to like watching Alien Resurrection and like when Sigourney Weaver's, having her moment with the
It's
weird
it's
humanoid
different.
thing.
That's different.
Let me continue. All right. I got
Yes, okay,
I'm
George.
going
Sorry.
somewhere with this. I'm going
Yes,
somewhere. All
gotcha.
right.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it's like this show has moments where it's trying to recreate scenes that we've known, and some we've loved, and some people have not. Over time, I've grown to love Resurrection. Most people still don't like Resurrection. That's a reality. And because of that reality, it's like, why would you want to recreate something that people don't like? It was just weird to me. It's like people hate that movie. Like there's a small few of us who appreciate that movie. We're not the ones you should be trying to like cater to in this moment. All right. Cater to everyone who wants to see Xenomorph bad. All right. Not Xenomorph friend. And so like it was a struggle to enjoy that scene because like I wanted to see it slaughter everyone. I just didn't want to see the lovey-dovey moment that followed it. And it's just that it was a bad precedent of what's to come for that specific xenomorph.
Yeah. And I'll agree. And we can stick on that aspect while we're at it. That's the elephant in the room that we've been waiting to address here. I am not a fan of this like buddy like team up that we have here. It's giving me very like AVP like vibes in there. Like I don't want a damn team up at all within this. And then like to have it on call and stuff where she's like, you know, SEAL Team 6 over here giving it instructions like, hide and follow, go to the left, watch my flank, and
Yeah.
giving all these like instructions in there that all of us, I don't know. I like the wreckage that the xenomorph left behind. I didn't like that whole like, come over here. Like, oh wait, I'm hesitant, but yeah, okay, yeah. I want your love. It's kind of like having a cat in a way where it was just like, yeah, give me attention. No, not too much. Not okay. Oh, not too much. And you got that like relationship with the xenomorph, and I'm like, oh, xenomorph should have just attacked because it wanted to, not because it was told
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
attack. So I'm not liking that aspect at all, and I hope it stops for the next episode. And I hope the xenomorph something happens and it turns on her. And I don't like it. Marie, we're well aware of your thoughts, but we're gonna we're gonna shine the light, give the platform right now to completely unleash on this little
Oh, no.
relationship.
The
For
whole time I'm thinking, just be calm, don't yell, don't get worked up because of just how much I don't like it. And I know, and you know what? It's funny 'cause when we're watching the show at home, we pause and we discuss at the same time. And I actually brought up Alien Resurrection because of this and because of this aspect. And I'm like, it's very different because it's a baby. It's way more humanoid. It has more human tendencies. Sigourney Weaver is also not humanoid. She's more xenomorph. So it like not more xenomorph, but she has xenomorph blood in her. So it makes a hell of a lot more sense. And the whole Alien Resurrection movie is like an art piece in itself. It's very different, very artistic. This is not like that. It's just kind of throwing this crap in there. And I I was, of course, shaking my head, gritting my teeth, rolling my eyes about this whole like George says it perfectly, like the blue Chris Pratt thing, because it totally removes the sense of horror from a xenomorph if they can be reasoned with
Domesticated.
or
yeah,
domesticated. Thank you very much. If
yeah.
you, they can be on your side. And the thing is too is like if you're comparing it to Resurrection too is like there's humans there with her. There's a human there in this show. And I maybe you want to say, well, it's not the same. It's not going to attack her because she's a hybrid, but there's a human guy standing right there that again, or maybe it's because it birthed from his lungs, so therefore it feels like kindred. I don't know what they're going for. I just, I don't want to see ever a normal xenomorph being friends with a human. Predator is different for me. Also, I saw it when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, and also, I've always had a little like crush thing on Predator, so I was like, oh, look at, I could change him. So it was very much like that, and but this is different. Like a xenomorph is crush on Predator. It's just that mask, bro. But anyway,
Uh,
it's just that I don't want it removes the horror completely from alien xenomorphs and it's not right. It doesn't feel right. I don't know. It doesn't sit right. Maybe it sits right for other people and they're thinking the way that I thought about Predator. Maybe, but just personally and for all of us, there's something off about it. Like, don't make me sympathize with the xenomorph and want to be a xenomorph's friend. I want to be scared of it. I love being scared of it. It's terrifying. Let it be terrifying. Make xenomorph terrifying again.
And I will say you brought up something. It was like you're in my head because you mentioned something that I was thinking during that scene, and it's like I hope this is not what they're thinking and this is not what they're going for because I can see a writer trying to explain it this way, but I don't like it. It's like I hope that they're not aiming for the fact that she has this connection, the xenomorph has this connection to her, not only because she has the language but because it came from the lung of her brother. I think that would be really dumb direction. I can see someone trying to paint it that way, like, no, that's why, like, like with babies, they say, like, even though they've never seen it, sometimes they still have that automatic, like, connection, like, they know. I hope they're not going for that, but I can see, a writer at one point, like, trying to be like, oh, no, this will be good. Like, this will explain it. They'll get it. So I hope not. So that popped in my head. So when you mentioned like if that's why I didn't attack the brother, I was thinking the same thing about the connection, but why it feels this with Wendy, and I hope that's not the case. The
I
other
Yes.
will
thing
I will point out there's
yeah,
one part of that scene that I was good with. And that is when he asks her, it's like, what did you tell it? And then she says to like hide and
hide and
follow her.
follow.
And she goes, I hope. So
Or I
Yes.
she's
think,
so I think, yeah, she's like, I
or I
think,
think,
yeah.
yeah.
So she's not even 100% sure that what she's saying is accurate. So with that little tidbit, I was like, all right, maybe there's a chance. There's that glimmer of hope where like later on it's gonna like betray her thoughts or betray like whatever she's telling it. And she'll be like, oh shit, I don't have control of this. That's what I hope is happening. I hope it's giving us a false sense of security of like, well, I guess she can control it, and then out of nowhere, slashy slash, and goodbye, brother, or
Yeah.
something, you know?
Oh yeah, oh, she's trying to tell it to stop, and she says instead she's like, "No está la biblioteca," and it's like, "What?" And it just attacks. So,
He's like, Baxter, you know I don't speak Spanish.
But see, I want it to be not a
Uh,
miscommunication that, the xenomorph is interpreting her or she's saying the wrong thing. I want the xenomorph to be evil and I want it to just take advantage of her. And I don't want this to be because I've said it from the beginning of this freaking thing with them communicating. I'm like, I can see where this is going. They're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. They're gonna make us try to like, oh, poor xenomorph. Oh, they can be nice. Don't worry about it. Don't judge all xenomorphs because some of them are good. It's like, no, I want them evil forever, you guys. Unless it's a baby and it's going to its part xenomorph mama Sigourney Weaver, then it's okay.
Screaming Rocky Road. Uh,
Yes, that's all right. I'll take it.
I will say what I feel that they're going to do, and I'm not gonna like it when this happens, is she's captured, she's being brought to the facility. The xenomorph is free right now. It's gonna come back to try to save her. I feel like it's
It,
going to
it,
do that.
I
And I
know, I
really
know.
hope it doesn't, but I have a feeling that's the direction they're gonna go, and I'm not gonna like it. I am preemptively letting you know I am not going to like that part when it
yeah.
happens next episode.
And
But
since they
before we
use so much music in this damn show, you know they're gonna play Boys to Men Mama in the background.
yeah. I was before we move on from that scene, another thing, and it's probably my own personal like preference or things like that. Uh, I'm not a fan of the xenomorph in the bright ass daylight in the sun. Like, yeah, I like that it destroyed everything, but I don't know. Being out there in the light, in the sun, and attacking, it just didn't feel the same for me. Like, I see xenomorph, like, I'm thinking dark, dungy, like, or out in the sun, bathing and attacking. The attacking just didn't seem as bad, like, during that. I don't know. But that's
It
just
should
my
have been more
personal preference.
stalkery. It should like they should have had scenes intercut in that where we're seeing it from his perspective, but we don't know it's with them. Like
Yeah,
we're thinking like maybe it's more soldiers or whatever, and then we find out
Mhm.
no, it's the xenomorph the whole time stalking.
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah.
would like to because they did this when they first got to the ship that crashed. I would be interested in rewatching the episode and kind of just watching the background as they're walking through to see if maybe we get glimpses of it. Because when the ship first crashed and they are going to, get the specimens and do all that stuff, we saw the xenomorphs in the shadows during those scenes, but there was no attention brought to it. I'd be curious to kind of rewatch and see if we saw that.
Mm.
But anyway, so that was that one team. Morrow came with another team itself when they landed, and slightly, of course, he didn't get there in time, and the buster came out of Arthur after Arthur, unlike his wife, being very caring and understanding and showing that he actually cares for these creatures. Even though he didn't have his full memories, he knew something was wrong. He knew they were lying. He knew that they were trying to trick him, and he was still like willing to like understand. Like, let's go talk about it. It's gonna be okay. And he was able to convince them, but it was too late. Chestbuster came out, ran in it, and slightly being again that child logic was just like maybe everything will be okay if I just still bring the body, even though it doesn't have the chestbuster. So he walks over there trying to deliver the body and be like, "Is my mom safe now?" Of course, no, but Morrow doesn't say anything either. He doesn't say yes or no,
No.
which tells me he was like, I can still use this leverage in there. So I'm not going to reveal if your mom is safe or not. But he takes him in. They infiltrate the lab. And this whole time I was going back to our conversations. I'm like, this is way too damn easy. I'm like, where's the security? Where is the sensor? They just walk inside the building. Like, okay,
Yeah.
this is getting too ridiculous. Like, okay, in the lab, I kind of get it because top secret, don't want too many people messing around, don't want humans in there. I'm like, but come on, like, this is too much. But then as soon as they walk in, they redeemed itself and it made sense. And as soon as they walked in, you see Kirsch is waiting there with a ton of soldiers surrounding them to capture Morrow. He captures the chestbuster that's out there. He's got everything, and we kind of see that Kirsch has been setting this trap from the very beginning. He's been purposely letting everything play out, and he wanted the xenomorph. He wanted a second xenomorph in there, and he wanted Morrow, and he wanted him to get there. And that the end goal we don't know yet, but we know this is how he wanted it to play out, which tells me maybe we didn't get those security alarms and everything in the lab and all that stuff because Kirsch has control over that. He was purposely, making sure that nothing's alarmed so things can play out. Maybe, he deleted the footage of what happened to Arthur. He's hooked up and been watching everything. And it seems like he's just been doing whatever he can to make sure the plan goes according to how it's supposed to go and it plays out. Because even when he catches Slightly and Smee, he was like, "What are you doing? You want to go this way. That's the way you want to go. That's the fastest way. Go ahead. You're like running out of time." So that answered some of our security questions, at least in my eyes.
I'm with you 100%, especially in that moment when I'm glad you brought up the him catching Smee and Slightly, because this was like the moment. It's like, all right, they're saying what happened, and he's just like, his look on his face is like, yeah, I know, I've known the whole time. It's like,
Yeah.
and I got you, all right. He helps him immediately, and as I watched it, I was like, man, what has he got up his sleeve? Like what? I don't think he's on the bad guy's side. He's obviously on his own side. I was like, what's he gonna do next? And then when they started coming in and everything was super easy, I was like, oh, this is it. This is all part of the plan. And then bam, he comes out and like so I love how Oliphant is playing this character so well, where like there's this smugness, but just a slight smugness. Because after all, he's still a synthetic, so he's not supposed to have any emotions. But you could see like he feels pretty good about his win right now. And it was like this has all been planned out. Like he saw this 4 episodes ago. He knew this is where it was going to end up, and it's like it just adds to that point of like what I said before. It's like he is the end game, like he is the superior being to everyone else. Kid Cavalier may be a freaking genius, but to me, Kirsch is the genius of this whole show. No one is smarter than this character right here, and I just love how he just showed his power in that moment over everything that was happening. And I honestly don't know what Morrow's next move could be from here. Like I feel like he came in maybe a little too confident. Like he should have been a little bit more calculated with his moves and maybe try to be a little even more stealthy because there wasn't very stealthy at all. It was just like we got this kind of attitude. And I don't know why he came in like that, like so strong.
Yeah, there's definitely an overconfidence, and maybe this is why in future events in the timeline we're only seeing the synth, and we're not seeing the cyborgs, and we're not
Yeah.
seeing the hybrids, because the Sims are superior in all aspect. They have the intelligence of the hybrid, and the strength of the cyborg without the weaknesses of the human emotions and elements of it, making them superior when it comes to this type of things. So we are seeing that there. And for the card up his sleeve, I still think he he's the leverage he has on Slightly is what he's going to use. He's still, who knows if he still has that connection, and he can try to get Slightly to help him out because he still doesn't know what happened to his mom.
When Kirsch like let them out to go to the beach, my first thought was, is he working for Utani actually? Like, what's he doing? And then you find out later that no. And then so I really like in the show that his character is really keeping me guessing and on my toes, like what's going on with him and his motives. And I like the fact that he knows more about what's up than Cavalier does. So it makes Cavalier look stupid whenever Kirsch is in the scene. When they're in a scene together, I'm not thinking like, look at this genius guy. I'm just like, Kirsch is like, he's the man. You're not. You're nothing in comparison to him. But I need to rewind a little bit to talk about the scene on the beach when the chest burster came out, and then just the interaction between Smee and Slightly, and like Smee's emotion in the scene. This is, I think, maybe the best acting I've seen in the show is his he's like, "Oh, you told me you'd be okay," and like this the whole thing was heartbreaking. Like I might start crying. It was
Yeah.
so heartbreaking, and he felt like betrayed by his friend. But then slightly he's like, "Well, I didn't know," blah blah. Or you'd say the same thing if it was your family, uh, and then Smee, the when he's over top of Arthur's body, and just like when he's like, and he's the way he's like yelling and so emotional, like I was getting emotional. I'm like, this dude is acting his ass off, and I believe everything that's happening. They feel extremely childlike. And then also when it showed Morrow meet up with them and just slightly pleading, I'm like, if anything happens to these boys right now, I'm going to lose. Like, and this it made me think about the last episode when George, you asked how I felt about something happened to Toodles slash Isaac, and I was like, it didn't affect me. And I think just because with his character, the child, like, I know every child's different and everything, but there wasn't enough of that kid body language or demeanor or anything. So I forgot. Like, and I looked at him, I didn't see a child. Like, it just didn't like convey through the screen to me like this is a child and he's getting offed right now by some fly that eats electronics. But when with Slightly and Smee, I'm like, these are children. And I would be heartbroken if anything happened to them because first of all, I love their characters so much, but it's because their acting is so good and they're so childlike. And that the scene on the beach with the chestburster is one of my favorite because it's where I felt the most emotion and care for characters in the series. So that was like one of my favorite scenes. And then the any interaction with Smee and Slightly is like stand out to me. So I just had to bring that up because oh, that really hit me hard. Like those were great scenes.
That was a good point. I do want to add to that. I like because they were both they were both affected by the what happened to Arthur in that moment. But you
Mm.
can see the difference between them. This is fresh trauma for Smee, and you see the overreaction because like you really see them affected. And you see that it affects slightly, but there's a more subdued reaction. And I think it kind of just points to the fact that Slightly has been going through this for a bit now. There's more of a dissociation
Yeah.
from it.
Mhm.
So you see, like, he's still affected from it, but he's been chipped away at by Morrow and the worry for his mom for a while now. That his
Mm.
reaction was not as potent in the moment as me, who until maybe an hour beforehand was just like, let's play games, let's have fun, and then next thing you know, a father figure is like dead on the beach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really impactful. Yeah.
But touching on Nibs, we get into this like final scene like on the platform, and they arrive at the boat, and Hermit's friends have betrayed him, and they're waiting for him there to capture him. I'm pretty sure Curly snitched. I will say that. Uh, but they're waiting there, and now we have the standoff in this scene, and they make a mistake by taking something of that is Nibs. I guess they didn't see the scene before when she said, "No one takes what's mine," pretty much. So they do that, and things go to hell in a handbasket. Marie, what were your thoughts with this scene and how it played out?
We haven't really seen these hybrids and what they're capable of. Like even when it's showing like them lifting the bodies, I'm like they still look like normal people lifting bodies. Sure, it's a little easier for them, but I'm like they're supposed to be strong. They're supposed to be these perfect things with their bodies and everything, and like be afraid of them a little bit because you don't know what they're capable of. And now in this scene, I was like, I like that we're seeing what they're capable of and the strength that they have and why they should be kind of feared in case they turn on you because they can rip your jaw off. Like that this is why I liked seeing that. While this is happening and there's all this chaos ensuing, I was like, what's the point of all these people on the bridge if they're just gonna stand there and do nothing and not but then I guess they don't maybe they had orders to like not damage the hybrids and
They said it out
everything.
loud. They were like,
Yeah.
"We can't damage
Yeah,
them."
I just didn't see the point of all these. I don't know, maybe to capture them if they run, but then also can't they run super fast and jump super high? And like, I don't know. It just looked kind of silly having all these people there and there's like, it's like watching. But anyway, that aside, um, I liked the thing I liked about that scene was seeing the hybrids actually be something to fear in case you piss them off or they turn on you.
Yeah, that was another one of those love-hate moments, man. because I've been waiting for
Yeah.
this. I've been waiting for it this whole freaking series is to see a hybrid just like let loose. And it was a dope scene. Like it was cool seeing her rip that jaw off. I was like, yeah, now she's gonna just tear her all apart. Like I thought she was gonna have a full xenomorph moment of her own, which I was full
Yeah.
on ready for. But the only thing about it that it becomes kind of annoying and infuriating is like you said, we have these same episode. It takes two of them to carry a body to the beach. And like it doesn't look that easy to be honest. To me, it looks like a regular
Yeah.
human struggle. And
Yeah.
when you think back to like episode one or two, and we see Wendy holding all of the kids up on her arms like it's nothing,
Yeah.
and you got to factor in like all those kids together, that's probably the weight of like two full adult bodies at the least, you know, and she's making it look like it's whatever. And so like after that, we never get to see them present such strength again. It's as if they don't know they have that kind of strength when they do know it because they've addressed it, they've talked about it. And so like it's a pick and choose kind of thing that I feel like they've been doing with this series of like, okay, now they're super strong, but now they're not. Wendy can jump
Hmm.
from like can land from an enormous height and not get damaged whatsoever, but if they get shot, then they're dead. Or if some electricity hits them, then they're dead. And granted, we don't know 100% that she's dead. She could just be knocked out. Maybe she needs to
I
get
think she's
reintegrated.
incapacitated.
Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
very much the case. But it's like I don't like how they decide when they're invulnerable and when they're not. Because they're supposed to be better than a synthetic. A synthetic is still very much as fragile as a human to some extent, as we've seen through all Alien series. But the synthetic's the hybrid's supposed to be better. That's what they keep on telling us. It's better than a synthetic. It's better.
Hmm.
Is it? I don't believe that it is. I feel it's just as fragile. And it's only strong when you tell us it's strong. So like, that's the part I loved and hate about that scene, But now I'm excited to see the next episode and maybe like more havoc can be wrecked because Wendy's not going to have it anymore. You can see she's fucking pissed.
And her brother made two mistakes there in her
Ooh,
eyes. One was
yeah,
stopping her from calling the xenomorph, and the other one was incapacitating Nibs. And you can see the betrayal in her eyes as she, yells like, "What did you do?" And
yeah.
those are the final words that we see there. And you know what? They might never get to have that conversation because we don't. Things are probably gonna look too good for Hermit when he arrives back at the lab. So Hermit, it might be a different Hermit that she encounters next. And I agree with you, George and Maria. I know you brought this up before. There is an inconsistency with the powers. The only thing I can kind of attribute to it is an understanding of their own, strength, and sometimes to a lesser degree, we see this with humans sometimes where they don't understand their own strength, and they can be stronger than what they believe that they are. Because it seems like when we are, except for Wendy, she's been the exception. With some of the other ones, we don't see those feats of strength until they're emotionally charged. Nibs, we've seen it when she's been emotionally charged. We saw with Slightly earlier in the episode when he was emotionally charged with Smee. Smee came into his room and he actually picked up Smee and pinned him against the wall. And we saw that show of strength there. And that because he was desperate that like he was gonna ruin everything. So we have that seems when we are seeing it, except for Wendy, who seems to has the most control over everything that she's in. So that's the only thing I can think of is they don't fully understand their capabilities, so they don't use their capabilities to a full aspect until they lose control and emotion kicks in. And then, kind of like a mom lifting a car to save her kid, it there is when the emotion kicks in and it's no more about restraints of strength and you kind of just see that giant feat. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but there should be more consistency, and maybe as things get more desperate next episode we see some of that, whether it's fear, anger, desperation, those emotions kind of supercharge them and we see a little bit more as they try to survive.
Well, I was just thinking there, like you just said it, you know how if moms are in a state of like stress, they can lift a car, it's like, well, then they're just doing what a human can do then. And if they can't comprehend their capabilities and you feel like it'd be the opposite, that they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna lift up this body. Whoa, he's really light. Like, look at this. I don't understand how strong I am. Instead of the opposite being like, oh, because they're built like that. That's the way they're naturally built, is to be strong. That's the way they are. They're not built to be like a human, and then when their emotions arise, they're strong like a human would be. Because then that's just like, well, your body's more human than it is machine. If it was a machine, then they would be like everything, like I need to watch what I do because I'm way faster than humans. Okay. I've noticed that. Or I noticed that if I like pick up something, it's way lighter to me. So I need to actually contain my strength because they're naturally stronger. Or if it is what you say, and they get stronger when they're emotional, have that written in the story so that we understand and there isn't that inconsistencies because right now there's just too many inconsistencies with the writing that it makes it like okay this doesn't make sense because it just it's like we're not forgetting that these are hybrids and she just jumped off a cliff and lifted up all these kids. We didn't forget, but it's yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And I'm watching for it because I'm like, they're just acting like human beings until the writers want to show, oh wait, actually no, it's a hybrid and it's wrong. And it's just not consistent. It doesn't feel real that way.
Yeah.
Another possibility, unvalidated possibility, because I will give you this. This is not presented in the script. I'm taking this more out of other pieces of media that I've seen, whether video games, shows, movies, and things like that. Is um, if safeguards have been put into it, and maybe these emotional bursts are able to kind of get through those safeguards. And because just like they tuned her hearing and all of that stuff, they can kind of tune these safeguards and kind of keep them weaker. But again, that's just a possibility that I'm thinking, trying to explain it, but it should be
Yeah.
explained by the writers in
Right in
some
the story.
capacity because there's
Yes.
precedents from that from other pieces of media out there where it's just like, okay, we can't make them too dangerous. These kids can snap our neck. Let's put some safeguards in. Let's kind of nerf them. Let's tune them down. But when emotionally charged, maybe someone like Nibs can break through those safeguards.
I'm obviously with Marie on this one, and I kind of when watching think about like a dog, like you know when you have like a big dog, like a Great Dane or a Saint Bernard, and they try to go on your lap, they don't know they're not puppies anymore, so they're not fully aware that they're gonna mess your shit up when they jump on you because they just think I'm still a small dog, right? It's like no, you're a bear, you know, but they don't understand that,
Mm.
you know. That's how I felt like it should have been with these hybrids. Like they have this strength that's always active and they have to be like almost like Superman and realize like I got to pare it back. Like, I got to be conscious to not use my full strength as opposed to like I'm not aware that I have full strength. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I'm not super strong, but I can lift like 100 pounds. So if I lift 5 pounds, it's like, oh shit, that's really light. That's really, that's how it should
Mhm.
feel for them. Like when lifting a human being, it's like, oh damn, like you're like a Twizzler. What's happening here? That there should have been
Yeah.
more of that as opposed to like I don't understand how strong I am kind of situation. Or like I can't access my strength.
There was a little part where like Smee like puts down the body and he's like jogging, he's like he's like breathing out of breath, and I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah, you shouldn't
shouldn't
be
you
able to
be out
breathe.
of
You're
breath?
not
You
breathing. You're
shouldn't,
not
yeah, yeah. Like he's my favorite, but he shouldn't be out of breath because they can't breathe like that, and he shouldn't be out of breath from lifting a body or from being scared. Anyway,
And that's what makes me
all
think
stuff.
that maybe because not Kirsch's goal, but the other goals was to try to make them as human as possible. If they are purposely tuning them down to a certain extent, but again, unsubstantiated by the
Yeah.
script. So that should
Yes,
be in the
yes.
script. But little things like that makes me think like, are they tuned down? Is this like purposely done to lean them more towards the human side than the machine side? With Wendy being the exception because she is the favorite. She's the one that's supposed to be exceptional and all that aspect. But again, should be written in the script and in something, even if it's a conversation between them. Maybe a perfect opportunity could have been after the Nibs flip out with the therapist scientist, where they could have been like, okay, we need to tune her down. We
Yeah.
need to tune the strength down. We need to do that. That would have been a perfect opportunity for that. But we got one episode left. We have one, and there's a lot to close in this one episode, but we're in the chaos phase, and we saw this episode was full of chaos. which a lot of the chaos ended subdued by the end. By the end, Morrow is captured. His troops are captured. The new xenomorph in its chestbuster form is captured. Um, Wendy and Hermit are captured. Nibs most likely incapacitated. I don't think she's completely like done. And Smee and Slightly have been taken back in, and they are grounded now. So everything is back under control. Even the little fly creatures have been subdued and recaptured. Everything's under control. All the chaos is done at the end of this episode. The only loose string of chaos is the xenomorph that's still out there in the wild. That's the one thing. So I'm curious to see how will Pandora's box be opened again. Is Morrow going to still use the leverage he has to get Slider to help him out, and then he's going to cause more chaos? Is the Xenomorph going to have his "I need a hero" moment and come back to try to save Wendy? With Bonnie playing in the background. I don't know. We'll see
It
what's
will
going to
be
happen.
playing because that's what the show will do.
So, but do you guys have any theories on next episode how we're gonna re-chaos everything? Because we need to in order to get a full conclusion to this season.
I have the same fear that we're all already mentioned, which is that the xenomorph's going to come in as a savior being to come help out Mama and all that stuff. I question if she's because they didn't show this earlier, but since she did communicate with that first xenomorph, will she realize there's a second one now on the island, and will she try to contact that one too? And because these things grow fast, you know, will that give her two xenomorphs at her beck and call, or will the xenomorphs have a battle at each other like that? I question what's going to happen there with those two things. I think Nibs, when she awakes, I can see her just going full Hulk and causing a whole bunch of shit. Like I don't see her going
Mhm.
down peacefully if she does awake again. I also think there could be a showdown between hybrids where I think Curly might fight like Wendy or something. Like I could see
Wendy would
something like that
destroy
happen.
Curly.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But I can see it happening still.
Smidge.
Yeah. And I didn't fully think that Hermit would be the one to get the octopus. Part of me thought maybe the doctor, or even crazier thought, what if he wanted to put it in himself? Because what's the crazy thing that scientists will
Yes.
do is they'll test themselves, like Bruce Banner turning himself into the Hulk. Uh, what if like he feels like that's the best way for me to communicate with this thing is if it's in me. Then we can have the best conversation ever. Like I kind of question if he would go that far with it. But when you brought up Hermit, it's like that's a great point.
Yeah.
He probably would sacrifice Hermit for that
Yeah.
situation.
I don't think he will voluntarily, but I feel the octopus will be end up in Cavalier by the end. He's already
Yeah.
eyeing him. He already knows he's the one in charge. He's already calculated all of this. And I think the octopus is the chess piece that's going to lead to our conclusion. That's going to lead to the next step of chaos
Yeah.
in there. Even if the xenomorph comes back in there bursting through the door and we start hearing and they say that a hero will save us. I'm not gonna stand here waiting. Chad Kroger's just blasting like through the speakers in there. Even if that happens,
uh,
it's gonna come down to the octopus. Marie, what do you think?
Hey, I need to remember. This is how bad my memory is. George is saying stuff. I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm like, what was I saying? Okay, you were saying what what I would like to see is the other xenomorph, like the little baby one that came in, is growing, and that one start communicating with the current xenomorph, and then they team up and like F Wendy. Like I don't like get rid of that relationship and whatever. They have their little coffee talk, and then they decide like, wait a minute, no, these people are the enemy. So I would like to see that. I really don't want to see like I don't want to see two xenomorphs. I mean, I would like to see two xenomorphs fighting, but not with one under the control of a humanoid thing. That is not why. If they're like fighting over whatever they want going on in their xenomorph lives, that's fine, but not with Wendy controlling
Yeah, come on,
one Xenomorph,
Xeno, bros before
and
hoes,
it's yeah, and it
fighting over
exactly,
the
and
girl.
it's fighting for her to protect her. I would don't want it that way, but anyway, Nibs. You were saying Nibs. I would really like to see her go crazy because she has, if our assumptions about her and her past, if they're correct, she has every right to be like anti-human. She would be like, I don't trust people. They've hurt me. I don't trust all these men here. I don't trust now this woman who tried to wipe all my thing. So I could see her going like ballistic, like of the humans. That'd be cool to see. If anything happens to Smee and Slightly, I'm going to be
We
very sad.
protest, and I
Yes,
protest.
we
We
protest,
protest.
especially Smee. But at the same time, I do want more darkness in this show. The show is a little. I think there's some really good themes explored in the show. Really, really good. But except for the communication aspect, but there are some really good like themes. But I'm missing like this dark, visceral feeling, and it feels a little more like poppy. And I don't know, it has to do with like the music that they add. Also, we were pissed hearing Queens of the Stone Age at the end of this one. We're like, leave them out of this. They have nothing to do with this. Like, leave Queens of Stone Age
uh,
alone because Queens, don't you dare put them at the end of the show. Because I feel like that kind of like this rock star like type attitude they're trying to throw into the show, like rebellious. It kind of like takes away from what could be a very, very dark story. And that's why I would love to see Hermit get in that octopus because I want to see Wendy be furious, but in the dark way. Like that would justify also her wanting to take out people because she's just like full like I don't know, Dark Phoenix at that point. Like she's just going to switch and be like, no, that this is my real family, and this is what you did. And I don't know. There's things that really, it's just there's things I really enjoy about the show, man. But it's like I can't fully like it for what it could be because it could. I feel like it could be so much better. And also the buddy cop like xenomorph thing. I just don't. I can't get on board with that, and I won't. I won't. I just can't. So I'm excited to see the next episode because I want to see what they're going to do. I want it to like blow me away and surprise me and not let me down like some of the episodes have done with this like xenomorph communication crap. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for next Wednesday
I
to talk
think
to you guys.
if Cavalier chooses Hermit, that might be his biggest mistake because he will eliminate the last link that's holding the little bit of humanity Wendy has left. And I think if he
Mhm.
takes that away, you're getting full on anger driven machine Wendy, who's just gonna go scorched earth.
Octopus is like his new shiny toy now, though. It's almost like he's bored and jumps to like new things,
hmm
like a little spoiled brat would do. So he might not even be thinking about that because now he might be like, oh no, I got this new octopus. It's smarter than any of these hybrids I have. I don't care about these things anymore. Yeah, they cost me a lot of money, but like this is my main focus. And this is what he's focusing on. So it could be. I don't know.
We will see on the finale. I wonder how long the finale is. I really hope it's like an hour and a half minimum. Probably
Yeah.
won't be, but I really hope they go big. Make it a mini movie,
Yeah.
like for the ending. I'd
Yeah.
be down for that.
Hmm.
But anyway, I want to thank all those you that joined us for this bonus NASS episode. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to catch any of our previous one, like I said, we covered the other episodes of this season, as well as future episodes, such as the finale next week. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button if you want to be alerted when we do release our episodes. If you didn't enjoy the episode, maybe some of our other ones are, will do the trick and they're more up your alley. You can find our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever else podcasts are found. And if you love all of our amazing personalities, or you don't and you just want to hate watch the crap out of us, you can find us at Not a Strong Start on all major social media platforms. You can find me, Jose, at This Is Mi Nombre on Instagram.
You can follow me at Nicolopolis.
And you can follow me at Replays It All.
And as always, we might not always have a strong start, but we guarantee, 100% guarantee you to sometimes, maybe, possibly have a strong finish. Until next time.